SFJ 4x4 Studios presents
in my oversized four-wheel drive Jeeps.
a Jeep podcast starring industry experts.
Pure monosity. What? Say that again.
With mad scientist Scott Brown,
Use my drill press as a sort of lathe.
our host Neil Simpson,
If one light goes out, they all go out.
filled with shenanigans.
We are really professional with Jeeps.
This is I Speak Jeep.
Good morning, afternoon, evening, wherever, however you are joining us. This is the I Speak Jeep podcast presented by SFJ4x4.com. My name is Neil with Simpson Family Jeeps, joined in Grandma's Couch Studio.
Jeff Shermani. And
The Italian Stallion. You know,
Are you sure?
we did not sound check before we started to go today, and I don't know if it's because I got a beanie on.
yeah, we did.
We did.
Here, I can turn up your headphone
Yeah,
volume.
you
a little
might
bit.
need to.
But over on that corner, you've got Scott Brown
With
the mad
his
scientist,
Turjeepin.
stuffed with
coolest-
adventure.
The coolest
No,
hoodie ever.
actually, the correct Thanksgiving hoodie that won was
No.
the one that I'm wearing with the zombie
Those were
chasing
good
the turkey,
hoodies.
chasing the.
No, I
Jeep.
went to find this morning just for this occasion. I have it under lock and key.
I literally did the
Protect it.
same. I made sure that this was freshly washed for today. I was like, we got to do the Thanksgiving.
Did you two coordinate that?
No,
No.
no, we did not. I was hopeful that he would do that
It's impressive.
because it's not the same, but
Yeah.
It really is impressive for those who are listening at home in your ear holes, and of course you are the bulk of why we do this, and so thank you so very much. First and foremost, you too can join us live nearly every Monday morning at 10:19 or shortly thereafter, and
you could even beat Neil to the podcast.
yeah
It happened today, and we'll talk about that in a moment.
What you can't see is our signature limited edition hoodies from last year. Now, I think that's one of the fun things that I try to perpetuate is we do, and obviously Savage, who does much of our videography, photography, and merchandise design, you know, he is a savage. And so we do limited time merch drops. If you don't get it when we do the drop, and we've been doing this for years at this point, well, then you've lost out. But if you do pick it up, you can get some absolutely ridiculous April Fool's shirts. You can get this really awful Turjeepin hoodie that Scott designed.
Not terrible. It's the best
and
one. That's why it's lock and key.
For those who are listening at home, first of all, it is a JL, sport, two-door, right? And it's half JL, half turkey. I mean, and you can't see this, but you can imagine in your brain how awful it is.
You know, think of the cool things they've done like this, like the Zippo lighter car, the Wienermobile. I mean,
we could do the Turjeepin
Oh, boy.
just for Scott. The hoodie that actually won via purchasing last year was this kind of built for any season or what's it say?
No matter what season it is, adventure awaits.
Yeah, and there's a zombie chasing a turkey, chasing a Jeep with a Christmas tree on it,
And
which
it's
I think
got the ugly Christmas sweater
vibe going
decoration
on.
around it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
And honestly, I am not one to normally want a brown hoodie, but I absolutely love this hoodie.
Yes, it's the beef gravy color.
Yeah.
it is.
And now, I mean, we're talking about last year's hoodie, but realistically, what I should share with you is we did our signature seasonal drop. It is a overtly Christmas hoodie. It's kind of got the signature red pick-em-up truck carrying a Christmas tree that is kind of iconically burnt into our brains. But of course, instead of, kind of this ambiguous 50s, 60s truck, it is in fact a red Jeep Gladiator with white walls on it, which I actually saw a replica of this. When I say replica, it's like a representation of this at the Toledo Jeep Festival. A guy actually did his Gladiator like this, and I love it. And it wasn't the inspiration for this hoodie. It's just this iconic look, and I love it. So if you haven't ordered one of those, you should do it now. If you have, and you paid for shipping, it'll be shipped out ASAP. And if you're picking it up at the Christmas parade this Friday, it is the largest nighttime Jeep Ohio Christmas Parade. If we put enough qualifiers in there, it sounds special. And we expect to see you here at our facility roughly 5 p.m.
5 p.m. Yep.
to decorate your Jeep, to then depart our space, to go to yet another space, to then step off at 7, parade through the small Jeep town of Conneaut, Ohio, and then depart from there.
And that is on Black Friday, just in case
It
we didn't
is
qualify that.
on Black Friday, the evening thereof. We are not open except for to receive you at that 5 p.m. mark here at our facility for the parade.
Yep. So in the comments, real quick, we got Daddy Jeep was first this morning.
Good
saying
morning and good birthday to you.
Yeah.
Belated.
Belated, but yes.
Whatever.
And then we had Nate saying good morning, and then Nate promptly looking for his buddy Joe in the comments. I don't know if they even know each other in real life, but that's pretty fun. But he's going, Joe, where are you at? And then you got Jeannie saying happy Thanksgiving, everyone. Daddy Jeep saying Joe's probably napping. Roy Hill saying good morning. Jaga Jeepers says good morning. Jeannie saying looking forward to the parade.
Mm-hmm.
Josh Brucker saying good morning, guys. Daddy Jeep again saying he could set up the photo shoot with the Zippo car, so get it done.
I dig.
And then our own Savage put in the link for that Red Gladiator hoodie, the little Red Gladiator. So that is
it's a very
available
cool
to
hoodie.
purchase.
Yep. And I think, kind of if you don't know, I have a fascination and affliction with real Christmas trees. I am a real Christmas tree guy, and we are oddly fortunate enough, the way that the world works and the weird serendipitous manner, as SFJ 4x4, as our listening audience, we are all acquainted, Jeep owners, some Jeep owners who also have prize-winning Christmas trees, and actually a Christmas tree farm here in Ohio.
Yep.
That is actually they are nationally recognized for the Christmas trees they grow. So all of this actually has a lot of merit when all said and done.
So in the comments, real quick, I did want to point out that about being here before Neil. What you don't see before we go live is who is or who is not in the studio when it's time to go live. Neil sat down as we were finishing the intro, but that meant that in the comments section, Daddy Jeep, Nate, and Jeannie all beat Neil to the podcast today.
They did. They did.
It was pretty entertaining because that doesn't normally happen like that. But then we got Jerry saying good morning, and Nate saying he's wheeled with Joe O'Brien plenty of times, so he does know. He knows the best shortcuts if you want to take it twice as long. He does know Joe. And then Ryan is in the comments saying morning, boys.
Yes. Excellent. All right. So today, despite the playful chatter happening already, and the obviously the Thanksgiving holiday that is upon us, and of course, then by extension, the Christmas parades that will follow. What are we talking about today?
We are talking about the story of Jeep and the evolution of it without extinction is how we titled it.
Yes.
Basically talking about where Jeep has to go in the future so that it doesn't become an extinct brand like some of the others out there.
So I think that one of the potential inspirations that I had is oftentimes to me this particular podcast is what I like to kind of loosely conceptualize. It's a podcast. Today's program is about the other guys, right? And when I say that, I oftentimes get asked, both for parade opportunities, quite literally, to say I drive a Compass, I drive a Renegade, I drive a Cherokee, or a Patriot, or a Liberty. Can I come and participate?
And the answer is yes.
The answer is always yes, right? And so so that's one thing that we get kind of overtly, but we also get this feedback both within the community and the social platforms and individuals. Talking about, well, is a Compass a Jeep? And it's like, yeah, 100%. And so I actually feel very strongly about this. And the idea that diversification amongst the brand historically is what allows our flagship platform to exist. And yes, as a manufacturer, they try things. Sometimes they fall flat on their face. Sometimes they excel and they create a diamond in the rough, like the XJ Cherokee. But ultimately, the fact that the manufacturer as a whole tries and builds these other platforms is what allows the Wrangler and now the Gladiator to exist.
So I took an opportunity to watch a movie I hadn't seen yet and was way too fitting of this topic this weekend, and that is Ford versus Ferrari. Have you seen that
Yes.
movie yet?
Yep.
Phenomenal movie.
Yes.
And it is perfectly aligned with what we're talking about today.
100%. 100%. And
I didn't think I would find that movie as good as I did.
it's
Great
outstanding.
movie.
Oh,
Yeah.
it was phenomenal.
Yeah, it's outstanding. And it makes you fall in love. I mean, at least me, fall back in love with the automotive community over and over again in that regard. But so today is dedicated to the other guys, as far as I'm concerned. And as part of that, we have to address a little bit of the elephant in the room with Stellantis. And this weekend at the LA Auto Show, they revealed the Jeep Recon, which we've been told about and teased
Since 1970.
since 2024. and so, for those of
say
you
to what I said.
for those of you who
I mean, it's been hypothesized for many, many years, but the
Yeah,
actual
They have wanted to do a car that is able to do Wrangler things since about 1970.
dang, I agree with you.
Yeah.
I agree with you. And so
real fast in the comments, Daddy Jeep made a great point. If you need an economical all-wheel drive vehicle, why not one with a Jeep logo on it?
I couldn't agree
Exactly.
more with
He
you.
basically said it's not a Jeep, but it's still a Jeep.
No.
I mean, and the thing is that people lose their brains about this stuff today, and they have been trying to diversify the brand since 1946.
Correct.
I mean, come on. You could buy your 2A to just be a 2A. You could buy it to trench your yard. You could buy it with a
To run a
backhoe.
generator,
You
a
could
backhoe,
plow
a
your
tow rig.
field. They had to have multiple reasons and multiple angles for you to want to buy it.
I don't know that there's a successful manufacturer that has any type of longevity who produces one vehicle.
It doesn't work.
It doesn't work that way. And so it's mind-boggling to me that the air quotes the purists of our industries get so hot and bothered over the fact that the manufacturer diversifies.
I mean, it's a little off topic, but I think it's a perfect example. Is you have the Thunderbird, came out as a 2-seater sports car.
Mm-hmm.
It didn't make sense, but everybody romanticized those 3 years. And what happened after that, they got 4 seats, and it got bigger because now it's more practical and everybody flicks their nose at that. But that allowed that brand or that model to continue for a long time. And it eventually came a 4-door and blah, 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 blah. And everybody, oh, that's not a real Thunderbird. Well, it's what allowed that brand to exist because sadly, we all romanticized a 2-seat sports car.
Yeah,
But I got 2 kids and I need more room.
right.
So it just doesn't work. Like I love me a MJ. I can't daily a MJ because I have 2 kids.
Correct.
Where do I put my kids?
And and there are challenges, and I love that. I can't help but come back to the conversation of different strokes for different folks.
Yep.
And the conversation then turns to, typically speaking, when you're at that campfire or bar stool conversation, well, they got away from what made that vehicle great.
Yeah.
Well, okay, I kind of understand what you're saying. And in the Thunderbird situation, they gave you a big block, which was for that time kind of the best performance they had available. It was unique to that model.
The essence of the car did not go away.
And I got to tell you, I like what Jeep is doing far more than the Bronco, right? Because they at least didn't call the Recon like the Wrangler Sport.
Yeah,
right? We could have really had a travesty on our hands,
absolutely.
and they could have called the Recon the Wrangler Sport, which I think is bad marketing in my own personal opinion.
Yeah.
If you're gonna term something the Bronco,
Well, Ford just can't name things well.
now, and with that said, if we follow the lineage of that particular vehicle, of that one in itself, if we spend this much time, and
The
I'm doing a
Bronco
little
Sport
finger,
or the Bronco?
yes, yes, exactly, that they have a history of ebbing and flowing with that particular model.
Of rusting out?
Well, that is as a signature Bronco move. But from a full size to a small to a compact, loosely into a full size.
I mean, and again, I think it's funny is everyone feels it the most secure where they felt it. The early Bronco guys are all passionate about that model. And then when it changed up in 78 and it got bigger and now it's more like the truck. And then you got people who are like, oh, that's a Bronco.
Right.
No, they're both Broncos.
Yep.
They just had to change with the times because time was changing.
Yeah. And manufacturers have to endeavor to try and change.
And while I think retro cars can be cool,
Mm-hmm.
that was like 2000. So
That was a big thing.
you're only 25 years
Late to the party.
Ford.
Yeah. Right. Right.
And then you took something that should have been called an Escape and put Bronco on it. Just saying.
Yeah.
Nate in the comments said he has a Gladiator Sport, but it's still a Gladiator.
Yep.
Yep.
And
Exactly.
that, I think, is where they did a beautiful job. Now, with the whole sport equally going on, and I'm jumping on the conversation a little bit here. There's a video that I have talking about, should you build a sport? Should you build a Rubicon? What should you buy? And quite honestly,
There's no good answer.
Well,
Because
there
it all
is-
depends on you specific and what you use it
And
for.
that is the thing, is that the sport is no less of value or no less of a vehicle than that Rubicon. There are people out there who will die on their hill of the Rubicon's superiority.
Well, and yet this is another example of what we're talking about. The Sport is sold every day in droves, so the Rubicon can exist.
That's exactly correct.
Yep.
It just does. The Rubicon does not make sense without the Sport.
Correct.
Just as much as the Overland or the Sahara doesn't make sense without the Sport. You have to choose what segment you want to be in, but that's why we have options.
That's why we have options within that particular model. Now, it makes perfect sense by extension that the manufacturer would do the same. There are plenty of people out there who do not need the rugged nature and amazing capabilities of a Wrangler or a Gladiator platform. They're literally a point A to point B customer who has a price point that may merit something closer to a Compass or, previously a Liberty. And of course, we all know that within a brand, you're constantly trying out different little factors. And so, of course, with the Grand Cherokee, we know that, and because we haven't talked about that at all, the Grand Cherokee is oftentimes a test bed or intending to market to a person who wants some of those rugged capabilities, but without, without making it an off-road vehicle, hardcore off-road vehicle.
Which is just, again, continuing that lineage because the Wagoneer was that, the Cherokee, full-size Cherokee was that back in the day.
I do have a question, though. So, obviously, we support the diversification of the Jeep lineup, the wide variety. The Patriots, like you said, a budget-friendly alternative. So, I want to hear from you, because I know you've been following the Recon forever, since they first concepted it.
In 1970?
Yes.
Right along with the Eagle and
exactly. That's what I think the Eagle started as. It was like, this didn't sell, so what can we do? Well, we add 4 doors, so now we can sell it.
Let's talk about the fact that it is not a Wrangler. We know that. But it's coming in at a price point that is still the Wrangler price point. It's starting at $65,000, $67,000.
Here's my issue.
Why?
That I don't understand.
See, here's my issue is
if
that
I were going to spend $70,000 on a vehicle, I'm buying the Wrangler or the Gladiator, not the Recon.
So, and this is my rub, okay? And this is what I need people to be fully aware of, is that just because I believe in the diversity of the brand does not necessarily mean that I am going to be the person who encourages everyone to run out and buy something. Like, I can also look at you and be like, oh, wow, you're really dumb when it comes to whatever X, Y, and Z thing you're doing.
Yes.
When the Wagoneer came out and they made it $115,000,
That was stupid.
I'm excited about the Wagoneer.
I love the Wagoneer.
But that's dumb.
Not for
I
that
love
much
the
money.
engine. I love the fact that we tried something with the Hurricane engine in that. I want 3 rows. I want tow capacity. I wanted the Commander to be a cool vehicle.
Right?
I want those things
I was so
for
mad
us
at the Commander.
as enthusiasts, right? But that doesn't mean that I can't step back and be like, wow, that's dumb. I'm not going to spend $70,000 on that vehicle.
And you know what's really sad is here we have to give like 2 iotas of credit to Ford. They came out with the Maverick,
right?
and they made it reasonably, cheap.
Yes.
And it's, I believe, a hybrid or can be
Has a
either
capacity to be a hybrid.
and they sell like hotcakes because they're a reasonably cost utility vehicle.
Right. I think they intentionally, after they divested Workhorse, just for people who give a crap, as they got away from anything along that line, they needed a fleet-based vehicle.
Yeah.
And the Transit is doing well for them.
Yep.
And the Maverick was intended to be part of their fleet production.
But Jeep, you had a chance.
You had an opportunity.
They learn from them and go like, hey, it's got a smaller car, it has utility options, it's reasonably priced, and people are buying them in droves.
Right. And
we should sell ours for 80.
Yeah, and so I think that's 100% where we go astray. Where I can look at the Stellantis leadership and be like, what are you thinking, right?
We thought it was just the singer that was the problem.
Right, Carlos Tavares. So
That poor guy.
so here's the
never gonna
thing.
live that down on
I
our
need you
show.
to know, folks, listening at home, for 30 years, we have been told that they were going to put IFS and IRS in our Wranglers. We've been told that for 30 years. You just came into this maybe 10 years ago and you think you know everything about Jeeps. Cool, good for you. But I promise you, 30 years ago, we were told that the next Wrangler...
YJ was going to be IFS.
Correct.
Yeah.
All right. So here's the thing, and nobody wants that because of the rugged design of a solid axle vehicle. However, that does not translate to good on-road handling when it comes to the finest minutia of engineering.
And this is the other thing to put into context. The Grand came out with solid axles front and rear in 93.
Mm-hmm.
It has independent front and back now.
Yes.
They still sell them.
Yep.
And I guarantee you somewhere there's a ZJ owner going, they ruined the mark.
100%. And
Well, they're still selling them.
But arguably, they, in my opinion, sold better once they had that better comfort because that was the market for the Grand Cherokee.
Did. That's my point.
as they refine that vehicle. Here's the thing. By releasing the Recon, at this moment, they're leaving our Wranglers and Gladiators alone.
Yep.
Burn that into your brain, right? And the fact that the things that they told us 30 years ago they were going to do as far as unibody construction, so they're going to take our frames away.
Yep.
Frameless is shameless. I know Grands and Cherokees and MJs, y'all are here for it.
Yeah.
But we want a frame in our Wrangler platform. We want solid axles.
Yep.
We wanted a degree of rugged individualism that comes with that platform. But 30 years ago, they said, we're going to take all that away because, as Jeffrey just pointed out, the Grand sells better the cushier they make it.
Yep.
And ultimately, we're playing a money game here, folks. When it comes to a big business, there is no business who offers just one utilitarian vehicle over and over and over again. They can't survive. Okay? And so by diversifying their product line and offering these other offshoots, the people who do prioritize whatever it might be, a better ride quality, better fuel economy, lower budget, a push into EV technology, those priorities, different strokes for different folks, are where the brand has to go. Now, who out there is asking for a completely electrified vehicle, like in an authentic manner, a completely electrified off-road vehicle? I actually don't know. I don't know who that person is.
They're out there. I mean, they're absolutely out there.
But they are out there.
Otherwise, Tesla wouldn't be as big as it is right
Yes. Yes.
And I agree with you, and I think they should have an EV option, but I think they should also have a hybrid option.
And which, of course, let's talk about first and foremost. I feel like we have to contextualize. The elephant in the room is that Jeep is doing a poor job with the 4xe longevity at this time. Right?
But,
it just
but they're
is what it
calling
is.
the Recon a 4xe.
That's true,
But it's not.
because, and here's where I am kind of leaning into, right? I am leaning into the fact that I think that they recognized, just as when we approach a service job and we just try to do little icky picky pieces and not just like start from scratch and do purpose built, that they were attempting to retrofit technology into a compact environment and make it work within a model that it was never purpose built or engineered for. Whereas the Recon has been engineered from the ground up to be fully electrified. And I suspect that we will not see a fully electrified Wrangler in the future, despite the fact that
They've threatened us.
they've threatened it to us many a times. And I'm going to have a YouTube video about that in the very near future for you all to expand upon that. But I believe that the release of the Recon enables the Wrangler to pursue internal combustion engine and other alternatives.
Well, I'll
so
say it has-
e-assist and so on and so
It
forth.
has the capacity to, if they can make it something some people can afford, they can make it so it won't fall apart. Because I've seen some disturbing videos already.
Sure.
Maybe you should like headhunt someone from Fisher Price that can make some plastic toys that can handle things. Because
Wow.
I saw a video.
I was going to say, the video is pretty hurtful for Jeep for a
you
first run production
you
vehicle,
could not
essentially.
drive this current vehicle I saw down Northeast Ohio roads without the screen falling in your lap.
And
I think.
I'm going to be honest. When I first watched the video that you're referring to, I looked at it and I'm like, man, that's kind of disrespectful that they're going and picking at all the plastic. But the more you watch it, you realize they barely have to touch it, and the plastic's just kind of dangling.
When they grabbed the bar,
display screen is just shaking on the dash.
and they grabbed the bar on the dash and shook it, and the whole dash walked around like it was a 1980 convertible going over an expansion joint on a bridge.
And all I can say is that is what you're putting a $65,000 price tag on.
Right?
Do better, Jeep.
Come on.
Do better. I want to see this successful
not
because
having
exactly the reasons that Neil just said.
It's not having a 24 Gladiator and 24 all over again.
Yeah.
I'm having a hard time here.
Here's what I suspect. Here's what I suspect is that, and I actually, and what I should say, folks, I know from other acquaintances within the industry who pursued heavily EV technologies in the last decade, that they are upside down at this exact moment.
Yeah.
That, and that's not. I'm just feel like I'm presenting what I feel to be credible statements, and you can quote me on that. That there is a lot of businesses who invested heavily in the EV route, and they're upside down because that there is less demand than anticipated because of a multitude of factors.
Yeah, the EV industry is not there yet. It's not sustained or supported well.
I agree with you, and I think what really happened is they took a lot of time and effort into the drivetrain, into the chassis.
Yes.
Which I bet you is probably world class. And then they ripped the budget out from under the people
That's
making
right.
it.
That's right.
And then they just had to like go to the dollar store for some plastic and put the interior. But the problem is that if you don't see a thing through,
Yes.
it's going to be a blow up in your face.
Yes.
And
I
that's
think
literally what they're doing.
What happened is that we've been told about this vehicle that is intended to be it was intended to be a smaller Wrangler, right?
Yeah.
That was one of the ways that it was billed initially, was that it had the essence. You used the word the essence of
Yep.
of models, right?
Well, not only that, it literally shows that people in the mothership are trying to listen to the bass, and they see Cherokee owners taking their doors off, which I've never understood, but that's fine. You do you. They've also seen Compasses do it,
100%.
and they're like, "Hey, we can do that. We can make our vehicle do that."
Well, and here's the thing: is that under previous leadership in Stellantis, there was a lot of bad. There was a lot of bad things, which we have recently talked about, as far as overpricing the Wagoneer, getting away from the Jeep namesake on its initial launch, pursuing a luxury market that simply does not exist within that model. But Stellantis as a whole is rolling these things out with the attempt to learn from the platforms, just like we saw the change in 24 with the Wranglers and Gladiators, where we got bigger screens and we got better seats and higher electrical continuity and all this kind of stuff. That there are these milestones that the manufacturer intends to hit. And under the new leadership, as they do a huge hard push to get back to the base, Jeep, I want you to know, I see you. I see you bringing 17 vehicles to Toledo Jeep Festival this past year. From vintage, vintage survivors to all of the Easter Jeep Safari and prototype vehicles to supporting the parade. I see you doing that. I see you bringing Hemi back for both the pickup truck market and the 392 Wrangler.
And making it more affordable.
And making it more affordable.
And that's the other, I'm sorry, I'm just griping over, but you can take a concept, you can build a concept that's not ever supposed to do anything but look pretty.
Mm-hmm.
And I have watched those go down a road in a parade. They didn't fall apart on that road.
Yes.
So then we make a $70,000 vehicle that's going to.
I think the thing is that Jeep can easily come over here. Part of the movement of reaching the base conversation and go, hey, we're going to get back to going to the shows and supporting the different different base of enthusiasts, right? We're going to be at these. We're going to be at Toledo. We're going to be at Easter Jeep Safari. We're going to be at SEMA. We're going to give you this whole performance product line that is fun and in tune with what our enthusiasts want, from fun, ugly Christmas sweater decorations to our doors, to bumpers, to grab handles, that kind of stuff. We're going to listen to you. We're going to give you the V8. But we also have to keep on course of what we started 10 years ago, 30 years, 50 years ago, when we tried building a more a car that is also four-wheel drive.
Yep.
And I love the fact that they released it under the Recon, in the sense that they leave our Wrangler alone for the foreseeable future. Yep. Now, that's not a long future, folks, but the foreseeable future. And I think that if the Recon sales come up off the ground, then we're not going to see a full electrification of the Wrangler, which actually means that the Wrangler gets to exist more as we know it now, also with V8 options or other,
so what I hear is
assisted power plants.
They need to have a loss leader and allow this to be sold reasonably to people that are like Jeff, that just like that self-deprecation, where they're going to buy this vehicle right out of the gate and it's going to fall apart on them, and they're going to be like, I love driving my brand new car as the dash falls into the pasture side.
07 Wranglers. 07 Wranglers.
Absolutely.
That's exactly what an 07
find
Wrangler.
that demographic.
I drove an 87 Wrangler. It was a piece of trash.
Well,
hot, steamy
everyone
garbage.
has that point in their life, but there's others that are just every moment looking for that struggle and that strife.
Yeah. I mean, how much is a Tesla
I'm not
truck?
sure how I feel
How
about
much
this
is a
statement.
Tesla truck right now? How much is a Tesla truck? 100, 115?
Can we call that a truck?
Well, whatever that is, right? So somebody goes...
Cybertruck?
Somebody goes, I don't actually want to support... I don't want a Tesla truck, just the same as Neil Simpson doesn't want a Ford Bronco, right? But you know what? I'm ready to buy something, and I'm going to go ahead and take my chances on this. And I'm going to go ahead and take my chances on this particular vehicle. And at some point in time, a dealership, a manufacturer, the government is going to subsidize it.
Holy crap. The rear-wheel drive Tesla Cybertruck.
Oh, they can get them just in rear-wheel drive?
Apparently,
I had no idea.
starts at 60,000.
Okay.
The all-wheel drive
Yep.
is 79,990, so 80,000 we'll call it. And the top tier is 100,000.
Okay.
So they're not even over 100,000.
So what you're telling me is the industry is broken, not Jeep so much, maybe.
No. If the Cybertruck is selling for that much, and that is one that has already touted I know there's a lot of other garbage issues with it, but it's touted a lot of success worldwide,
Yeah.
and that's all it's selling for. How is Jeep going to come in with that high of a price tag for their initial launch into the cyber market?
And I've seen videos of the Cybertruck. It has about similar build quality. You could take it apart with a plastic spoon.
There's a lot of things wrong with Cybertruck, and it's still selling well worldwide.
But here's the rub though, right? Is that there's a lot of things wrong with the Jeep Compass,
Yes.
and it's still selling.
Yep.
There's a number of things with the Patriot, and I feel like Nathan has a point, and I want to call that into question.
Yeah.
As he says, customers didn't ask for EVs. Nathan, nobody asked for a Compass. There's nobody out there who is in a Jeep world, who is in that world, who's like, hey, I want a vehicle that is only going to work for 5 years and then ultimately is disposable without a single serviceable
and then
part
let's
on
move the
it.
door handles up on the window so that it makes it very interesting and unique.
Right.
What? Why?
Right. So the arguments go in a multifaceted manner, right? The manufacturers try something so as to tap into new markets that may or may not be readily available or apparent. And so ultimately, I mean, we do have a couple customers who have obsessed over mileage, over handling.
I mean, perfect example, I think, is I remember when the Renegade came out and everybody's like, I don't want a little box looking Jeep thing. And they sold fairly well.
Yeah.
And they were just not marketed to Wrangler buyers.
No, the Fiat Panda, if you're unfamiliar with that. And I loved it as a Fiat version. In fact, it was one of the number one selling 4x4s, and I use that as a loose, I'm doing air quotes on my end, in Asian markets.
Yeah.
And they rebranded it as the Renegade. I equally was excited about it when it landed here. And it has done well. And I've seen some people really embrace it and wheel them and make aftermarket parts for them.
Doors off of those as well.
100%.
I've seen them put them in places they shouldn't have on trails.
Well,
Yeah.
and the other thing that you're going to find when you diversify is a lot of times, especially in Jeep, knowing how they do their marketing and stuff, the Jeep vehicle is not necessarily originated as a Jeep. So, perfect example, you had the Dodge Nitro and the Jeep Liberty. This is the same vehicle.
Yep.
I mean, it is the same vehicle.
Yep.
They made a few modifications to make it a Jeep.
The Durango and the Grand Cherokee.
Correct.
About the same vehicle. And they've done that forever.
And they've done that forever. And that's part of this conversation.
I think they keep one AMC guy like on life support in the back corner.
Oh, they've got him locked up because
Yeah.
he's cussing. He still has the cigarette hanging out the side
Absolutely.
of his mouth. He drinks a black coffee, eats a bologna sandwich.
Yes.
He yells in the
lot.
corner a lot.
Yes.
And
Not
they have
PC.
His
No
whiskey's
PC.
being dumped in his
there's
coffee. as he's
nothing
drinking
politically correct that he's saying.
And when they can't sell something, they come over and they're like, and it's got to be like Jim or something. Hey, Jim, how do we do this? And he's like, you got to make everything work on everything. And you see that over there? Change the bumper and change it and sell it something else. Now sell it again.
And here's what I'm gonna expand upon it. I'm gonna expand upon this a little bit further because I hurt the feelings of some AMC guys with my last video for some reason, and specifically we get this elitism that comes out of the 76 to 86 iconic CJ ownership and rebuilders and whatnot.
They feel it very strongly.
They feel it very strongly. They seem to be the ones who are most offended by little rubber duckies.
Yeah.
And
Which I don't understand.
and they don't like that Jeep can continue to exist, building other Jeeps.
They wanted it to die in 87.
They wanted it to die in 86 for some reason,
I
right?
don't understand.
And then there's also a population of TJ owners that also believe the TJ was the last Jeep It depending on who you are.
And I get it. You all feel where staked your sword in the ground.
Yes.
Perfect example is what misplaced elitism. So rebuilding a lot of CJs. I see people covet. I don't know why, but they covet an ashtray for a CJ. Mm-hmm. I've seen them for up to $300 for a really nice ashtray.
One. Yes.
Do you know what that actually is? It's a AMC Gremlin ashtray.
Yep.
And if you called it a Gremlin ashtray, it would be $15 and no one would buy it. It's literally the bracket and the ashtray is off a Gremlin. Now you can go to any pull apart that has a Gremlin and steal that, and now let's make it for $300. You're welcome. But anyway, that's what my point is. They forget what the brand is. They were able to make that CJ affordable because they put a Gremlin ashtray in it.
Yep.
They put an AMX steering wheel on it with a different horn button.
They put a GM column,
Saginaw column in it
because a GM box
because they were broke.
Ford calipers at times,
off and on, and master cylinders.
And the point of this is to say, actually, by today's standards, right? So this population of folks, in my opinion, what I'm wanting to share is this iconic group of people who are just heavily associated with their 76 to 86 CJs, which of course I stand on principle and say, we rebuild some of the best of them, right? And have an appreciation for them and a knowledge of them, right? Only gets to exist here and now because of the sale of a Jeep Compass. Mm-hmm. And the culture that exists that gets people excited, that kind of continues to proliferate the brand, is this community that exists right now with big, oversized four-door Wranglers and trucks with ducks on their dash and blinky lights and fun sound systems and meet and greets. Because you know what doesn't exist right now? Hudson.
Yeah.
And the ability to find Hudson parts easily is very low.
Yeah.
And yet you can trip over a manufacturer who is making parts for your 76 to 86 CJ. Mm-hmm. And the reason that is not because there's so many of them in existence and so many that that's just the market is saturated.
I'm going to make it even more shoot and more Jeep centric. A Willys Arrow from 1952. Mm-hmm. Where do you buy parts for that at?
You don't.
But luckily, because it was made by a company that owned Jeep, the motors are the same. The rear ends are similar. There's some special parts, but it was a kit bash of salad of parts. And we see that today. The Grand got the heated steering wheel before the Wrangler did. It's similar technology. They were learning. We're always a little bit behind in the open top platform, which sometimes is good, sometimes is bad. Mm-hmm. It is a model that has been going forever.
And ultimately, the fact that we have a community dedicated to this umbrella brand is what allows aftermarket manufacturers, being at SEMA, that's all about the aftermarket, to come in and go, hey, we need to support the longevity of the brand. Yeah. And by extension, we then get some of these tributaries off to the Willys platforms. We get some of the related vehicles. But realistically, there is not a huge aftermarket remanufacturer who's making parts for some of these more obscure cars and truck manufacturers of the 30s, 40s, 50s, and 60s. As they fade into obscurity and the brand is unable to diversify and continue to exist, so does the culture. And the culture is what allows a person to go out there and enjoy this vintage vehicle just the same as somebody is enjoying their modern day ownership and a kind of affiliation with the Jeep namesake. And so we need diversity amongst our brand in order to enjoy, whether it be that vintage vehicle that we're painstakingly rebuilding or dreaming about, or whether it is our rugged off-road vehicle, the Wrangler or the Gladiator. We need all of these other aspects of the umbrella company to make it make sense. If you were to just focus in on one offshoot, and if the manufacturer, and I understand that if the manufacturer was to go all in and make something ridiculous, like going, hey, we're going to take the Wrangler and we're going to cease production of any internal combustion engine, and we're only going to make them a full electrified vehicle next week, and we're only going to make them IFS, you will kill the line.
Yep.
That's how it works. But if we introduce things first on the Grand Cherokee, I think that if it was 1985 and you told me that I needed a heated steering wheel on my Jeep,
Oh, you're upsetting the duck haters.
yeah, I would be like, why do I need a heated steering wheel?
Snow in the face through your top is character building.
That is how my Jeep's supposed to be.
Yes, I'm supposed to be.
Oh, is that why
injured.
Bronco did that?
That's just so you know, their soft tops suck. That's the inside joke, folks.
So bad.
All the snow right in time. Just kind of an extra point is the whole thing with this episode is to be thankful for all of the additional items that Jeep has brought to the table to keep that brand alive. And I want to point out that I am thankful for Joe O'Brien and the abuse that he is taking in the comments section today. And I'm sad that he is not here to join us for that. But anyways, that being said, Jerry Huber said, you can't hurt my feelings because the Jeep brand thrives on the success and failure of past efforts and the willingness to evolve the product while respecting the Willys Jeep heritage.
That is the best way to put that, man.
I mean, and that is what Jerry, reputably brings to the table, and that's why he is the influence that he is in both the Toledo Sphere and Toledo Jeep Festival, and to say that it is the essence and paying honor to the heritage of the Willis Jeep brand.
So what I hear
almost
is,
said it that way, and I was like, nope, we'll say it Willys.
what I hear is we all have a little Jeff in us where we like to be the underdog and be the cockroach that won't die.
I agree, right? And that I think is you're right in that we
I'm so thankful I have friends like you guys.
I want everybody to know that after the apocalypse, Twinkies, cockroaches, and Jeff will be here. That's just how it
To carry on
the message. So if there's something you think is really valuable, I suggest that you email Jeff at jeffc@sfj4x4.com or text us on our text only number 440-855-2100, and Jeff will make sure that that's shared with the next government and the next round of human or whatever populates the earth next.
So real quick, Daddy Jeep did say he's here now, ... finally. And then Joe chimes in, I heard that. So Joe, welcome to the comments.
And as you were reading the comments, to be thankful for this amazing off-road, this amazing community in general.
Yes.
Nathan says the off-road community in Western Pennsylvania is very specific, and I think that's appropriate, and we should celebrate Nathan and his affiliation with that community. But in general, being thankful for this group of people who do come together under the namesake of the Jeep brand is the idea, right? And that go back to that different strokes for different folks phrasing, that ultimately I can have an appreciation for a person who invests in their vehicle, no matter what it is.
I'm going to blow your mind. Something just occurred to me. Jeep, like America, is a melting pot of differences.
That's exactly
That's
correct.
Correct. And also, in my opinion and my experience in the Jeep community, it is generically the most helpful of vehicle communities.
Yep.
Always willing to lend a hand if you have any trouble with a Jeep of any kind.
And those are the underpinnings of who we are. And I don't have to love how somebody modded out their Jeep versus somebody else.
Yep.
I don't have to love this particular game. I mean, there's a lot of things. There's a lot of stuff. Do you guys remember Jeeples, the dating site at one time?
Yes.
I mean, I never got involved
Fortunately,
with
I
that.
am not familiar with that one. Wow.
I mean, and I don't know if they're still around. I'm not endorsing. I'm not talking anything about anything. But there was this whole like Tinder of the Jeep community.
Yes.
That had a huge push somewhere between 16 and 19.
So what you're saying, we're slightly obsessed.
We are slightly obsessed. And but here's the thing: is like
a little bit.
I don't. As a wildly happily married man and involved, within whatever my trajectory in life is, I don't really care that Jeeple exists. It doesn't affect me. I don't think it makes the community look bad. I don't really care what they're doing.
I'm happy it's there for the people that need it.
And
I'm happy it's there for the people who need it. Leave your koozies, leave your calling cards, do whatever you need to do.
And Fred's in the comments is really summing it up best, and I'll read his comment in a second. But basically, you could go from any of the Jeep platforms and still enjoy life. And he's saying daily driving a 69 CJ back in the day with Carhartt overalls and an ice scraper to keep the inside of the windshield clear in the winter, to heated steering wheel. And you can literally go throughout the different platforms and enjoy all of them.
That's absolutely correct. And that's ultimately the take is that to be appreciative of what we are all bringing to the table, regardless of whether it's a modern day, kind of attempt at giving some small portion of the population the vehicle that they've always dreamed about, or the vehicle that they can afford, for that matter.
Correct.
And or whether it's kind of these iconic platforms. I mean, there's a lot of new Jeep owners out there who romanticize owning an older Jeep.
Yep.
And then they get it
And they don't like it.
and they're like, oh, this requires a lot of elbow grease.
Yep.
This is not as comfortable of a ride. I'm constantly working on it.
Yep.
You know what? Let me go back over here.
Yep.
And we see that frequently.
Yeah.
Yep.
And so understanding that we're all in this together at this time and season of thankfulness, and that we should recognize our togetherness as well within this community that unites us, was the embroiled attempt in my
You
my
got to
thought
be
process.
thankful for the guy in the Carhartts with the ice scraper in his hand, muttering with the ash coming off something in his mouth. Not being PC, the same as we love the person that's putting a duck on a compass somewhere. It's the passion of both of those people that allow this brand to be great and to continue on into the next chapter or whatever that is.
I love it. I think that this reasonably wraps it up. I am, as I've shared online, excited for what the future holds. We're actually going to be talking about, if you haven't heard it yet, the J70, which is the next iteration of the Wrangler, is slated within the next 3 years. And so for that, I am thrilled about the Recon's release now, because I think the J70 gets to be a little more tried and true to the things that makes the Wrangler inherently the Wrangler. And like I said, I'll be doing a video on that here in the near future. Otherwise, I wish you, our listeners, all the best in this season of thankfulness and togetherness, and kind of to remember, what it is that unites us in the process, and what it is that kind of drives us as automotive enthusiasts and kind of all citizens of this great world that we live in.
Yep.
Until next time, Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.
So I think this is a perfect segue to weekend updates, because this time of year I always like to sit back and kind of reflect on the differences from a year ago.
Mm-hmm.
Where we were at, what I was doing, what I was working on, how things have progressed or not progressed, that kind of stuff. And my things that I am thankful for this year are good friends, willing to come over and put in hard work to right an ill that the weather did. And I am proud to say that we have trusses on a building. That was not easy, nor fun. I don't want to ever do that again. I'm sorry, Neil, when you have to build your barn.
Uh-huh.
Tapped out. Can't do it.
Tapped out. Not available.
No.
We're getting to that point. We're getting to that point where like you can't move anymore. Like pizza and drinks will not suffice the moving party anymore.
No.
You get to this point as an adult, I think you're like, all right, hey, we're good. You have to hire a moving crew, or you've got to figure it out your own.
I mean, Jeff kind of threatened, but was serious about like, I think we could get the Amish crew in to do the sheet metal.
And Jeff and I just did the sheet metal on it was just a 12 by 16. And I Scott, I encourage you to get the Amish crew.
I'm gonna have to do some feet picks somewhere to help get this done. But we'll figure it out. But also things I'm thankful for is to be able to have the 36 at the stage it is, and that I can hit the key and pretty much go when I want to, how I want to. That my wife didn't divorce me when I brought home yet another old Ford project that is obviously going to need tons of work and effort. Get a good family, good kids, good place to work, plenty of projects to work on. I mean, there is so much we could go on and on about the thankfulness that I feel right now.
Outstanding.
To have 2 vehicles that we touched and created go to SEMA this year. I mean, we have so many milestones just this year that really you can in the everyday slug it out. You can get really down and be like, well, I wish it was this or I wish it was that. No, we've accomplished so much with adversity, sometimes very high.
Yes.
We were able to do so much.
Yeah, some huge challenges as well in that same time frame as you're mentioning.
Absolutely.
So, what was the shenanigans from the weekend update? I how did the trusses get into play?
Well, thankfully, Greg showed up.
Yes.
Because we used Greg, Scott, myself, and Scott's wife Amy to put these trusses up, and the tractor at times.
I don't know why we didn't think of the tractor till like the 9th hour. Because the first one, that was interesting. We wrapped a strap around it and put a board up high.
So Greg and I climbed up 15
we
feet.
want to do everything the hard way at
Oh
first.
my God.
So
We have to learn every lesson the
to
most
get the-
painful way possible.
To get the end truss up, Greg and I climbed up 15 feet, and we were each hanging off of a post while screwing in a 2x6 that spanned almost 8. Well, it was 8 foot, spanned 8 foot, that we used to wrap a
Jeep strap.
Jeep recovery strap.
Sadly, the purple strap was not long enough for this.
you know who's not surprised by that?
So we use that to loop over and wrap the truss around the center, and then
one more little sidebar. The best part is the strap we used was in Greg's minivan.
yes.
I don't even know how.
Well, anyways, no, it gets better because then Greg is holding onto the strap with the attempt to pull the
it up
strap
there.
while we lifted the truss from the outside. So Scott's on one corner, I'm on another corner.
Can you not hook a winch up to this?
So anyways,
Yes, Neil, we could have used the winch.
The
and we
idea
were
was-
talking about it, but then Greg's like, I'm just going to do this.
and he's like, we'll just see how it goes. So we're 3/4 of the
course
way.
he was.
We're 3/4 of the way up. I'm on the outside corner. Scott's on an outside corner. Greg's in the center of the building, pulling almost straight down on this.
Yeah.
And at one point, Greg is just suspended in the air, hanging from the strap, while we are doing everything we can to not let this truss fall back down.
Yeah, there was some really severe truss exercises for the first 3 trusses, and then we all kind of licked our wounds and went,
It was on
that
the
was
on the
not
third
good.
truss. The third truss is really where
we kind of hit our stride.
yeah, and that was
When you go to swing trusses, small, cheap advice, make a bird's mouth on the end of your board. You should not just use a random 2x4.
which was what we did on the second truss.
Because then it slips off a lot, many times. And at some point, you're going to be on a ladder and this truss is going to be coming back at you. And you're going to find He-Man strength that you're going to regret later to try to keep it from folding over. And then as it gets basically flat, the truss then gets really weak
in the center.
so
bowing.
then it's bowing. And
Because they're engineered to be vertical, not
Yes.
horizontal.
and you had the 2 broken, weakest guys
So
on
I should
the ladders.
clarify that these are 24-foot trusses.
There we go. I was going to ask
6
what
foot tall.
There we go. I was going to ask what is the span of the truss?
Yeah, 24 foot. About it's a 612 pitch roof, so just over 6 foot tall.
Yeah.
At the peak.
Yeah.
And you've got Scott on a post at 24 foot across from me at a post. and you've got Greg spinning.
And the best part, I had notched the posts with a sawzall, so I had sawdust everywhere. So, and then the wind picked up.
Oh, it was bad.
So I'm trying to not die with this truss, and the wind is blowing sawdust in my eyes, and I'm like, can't see.
It's all true.
So bad. It was so bad.
Yeah.
You know, I've authentically watched like Amish crews like do this poof.
It's
in
done.
like,
This
like
morning,
2.5 hours.
Before I came to work, I had to wander out and take pictures. Because by the time we were done, it was so dark, I couldn't take good pictures. And there was a crew tearing the roof off my neighbor's house. And this is like, I don't know, 8 something in the morning. And they've already ripping sheeting off this roof.
Yep.
Because it was rotten. The roof is bare. And I'm like, it's barely been daylight for 15 minutes. How the heck?
daylight.
The roof will be done when you get home.
I know it will be. It's sobering.
So it's been a very challenging thing, but I think the hardest part wasn't even spinning the trusses up, but it was making sure that they were squared up and getting them secured together.
Yeah.
And then of course we had a couple trusses without any bracing, so every time the wind's blowing, we're watching these trusses with just the posts being nailed in, and we're going, we got to get ties to these,
Yes.
which we ended up getting, appropriately. Then we moved on to the next section of trusses. But
We all also may have had to use the tractor multiple times to make the building
square and plumb.
square and plumb.
Racking the building around with the tractor.
Oh yeah.
I want to do steel work again, like in my garage, making little fixtures and stuff. I'm so over wood.
The
that
wood and the
bows
framing.
and moves. And at some point, we literally heard a crash at the big windstorm. I didn't have any clue at the time what it was, and the post moved like 3/4 of an inch to an inch
Yeah.
the wrong direction. Well, later I figured out it was the siding that was in a pile. It literally blew off and into the woods. I had to pick up that
Because
after
it
you
was
guys
so
left,
windy
too.
while you guys
Oh.
were doing
Yeah.
your barn raising.
Yes.
Yeah. So needless to say, there's still a long ways to go, but it looks like a building. It's got trusses on it.
Yep.
They are somewhat anchored in. There's still more purlins to put up across, more wind braces, corner braces, things like that. But
Yeah.
it's moving in the right direction.
We're at the point of the project where it looks like something, but the wood pile is so large that I'm going, where does all this go?
There's still plenty to go, but it's getting there.
Because I kept thinking, like, I'm going to have space in my shed back.
No.
No.
We need another 2 to 3 work days to get that space in your shed back.
Yeah. Crazy.
And when you think about it, and you were talking about it this morning, and the thankfulness of how far we've come since we were kicked by your inspector and found out that we didn't have to wait for all these inspections and we could start building. We only have a solid 5 to 6 work days on the building, and with essentially mostly you and I, a little bit of help, two days worth of help from Greg. We were able to get all the posts set, all of the posts structurally, the girts on the outside, it's attached, it's all connected together. We've got the soffit nailer all the way around the building. We've got the porch laid out, and the trusses are up.
Yep.
That's a lot to accomplish with 2 guys that don't do that for a living.
And I've learned things like my nail gun has the assault feature. I did not know that was a thing until like 2 days ago.
Yeah.
There's a switch that you can switch, and then suddenly you have an assault nail gun.
Yep.
What nail gun are you using?
The same one I have, basically.
Oh, it's a pass load. Do you have a pass load?
What?
No, the brand.
No.
Mine's a Metabo. His is a Hitachi or something.
Hitachi. They're the
It's the
same.
same thing. They're twins.
That's fine.
But anyways,
Yeah, but his is paper collated. Mine's plastic collated.
Sure.
We learned that the paper collated stay in way better than plastic.
yes.
Something to do with the glue adhesive on
And
the
I
paper.
learned about angles. There's angles of nails. Who knew? I
Yep.
did not. I was so green going into this. It's not funny.
Yeah.
It's why I don't ever do this again. But I can tell you a story of how not to start out like Scott with this blind optimism. Like, I'm just going to go build a building.
Is this not how we try to encourage everybody through, like, the purpose of the podcast is like for people to like learn from our mistakes.
Well,
Yeah.
I can tell you one of the mistakes that we should learn from is not to put 90 nails into a spot and then realize that it's not even right.
And when
This may have happened more than once.
when Jeff says, "Go put that board on there," he means with a level.
Yeah,
He
yeah,
didn't say that, but he means with a level. You
Yeah.
should level everything. I've
Was-
learned.
yeah.
There was
Level
some-
everything. If you just tell Scott, who's never built a building, to go put a board up, he's just going to go put the board up
With
No,
a
he's
thousand
not. With
nails.
with 1,000
No,
nails.
he's not.
And that's also how we figured out that my nail gun nails don't come out.
Yep. Yep.
Oh God. I can only imagine
Hey,
what
hey.
a fun time you guys were
I don't know
having.
if fun's the right term.
Wow.
Progress. We made
I-
progress.
I
None of it
think
was fun.
Greg's statement at the end of the day yesterday was the sum of it all, when he just looks at Scott, looks at me, and goes, "You guys are really good friends, but let's not hang out anymore." And I was like, agreed. Because we were all physically spent at the end of the day yesterday. Just let's not hang out anymore.
And the sad part is, and after that, I still, because I'm convinced myself, again, I'm traumatized from a year ago, coming up on Thursday when I lost my other building. So I moved Amy's truck that had a flat tire and hasn't rolled in 8 months. So I needed to move that at dusk. I put all my pallets of random crap on my trailer and stuffed that in a hole, which probably will bite me in the butt some point in this winter. Had to move my little lawn tractor by hand. Like I was at the point of screw it. I just picked up the front of it as I shouldn't have and shoved it over. Moved the garage doors. We re-wrapped the boards that we had by the trusses. And it was so funny. We were using the tarp. Amy's like, "There's a hole in that tarp." I was like, "Yep, don't want to talk about it." May or may not have done that with the forks on the pallet forks with the tractor.
And so your concern is just in preparation of the impending snowmageddon.
The way I look at it is we're calling again for us to get some a determined amount of snow on Thanksgiving. I am triggered, so I am going into it going, this is probably it. And if we get more days after this, I'm just going to be so thankful.
They're bonus days.
They're bonus days
at this point.
And the end, we're past the buzzer at this point.
Yeah.
So much that I had boards laid out on the trailer. I literally marked those the length so that future Scott and Jeff can be happy about that.
He was marking them as I was leaving, and I rolled down the window real quick. I said, "Are you marking the end of the boards?" He goes, "Yeah." I'm like, "Cool. Don't put them in the shed backwards."
Which then Amy then put 2 in backwards.
I knew it.
And I just marked the other end of them and we moved on.
So this is the part of the program where I said we're really good with Jeeps, folks.
We are.
That's what-
That's why I don't know how to build buildings. I've built Jeeps my whole life.
Oh my gracious.
So, needless to say, our weekend was absorbed at Scott's doing building things, and we got a lot accomplished between Saturday and Sunday.
Outstanding.
But neither of us could move today, so hopefully you didn't have any big projects for today.
Yeah. Wow.
Lots of ibuprofen.
Yay. Yay.
And that being said, I know we have lots of big projects today, so let's get
Right,
to your
I was
weekend
gonna
update so we can move on. And
Well, I think that the challenge is just kind of where I'm at, and I've been trying to communicate with folks, just kind of continuing to steady the ship and the capacity, personally and professionally. We are busier than we kind of have ever been here
At this time of year.
At this time of year, at this within Simpson Family Jeeps, and so being able to make good on those things that we said we
Which
were
we're very
going to do,
thankful for.
which I'm incredibly thankful for.
absolutely, but
we
it
have
was
to decide how we
our
adapt.
our war board was insane to look at for what it normally is this time of year, and to sit there and strategize and look at how are we going to do this, what order are we putting the Jeeps in. We've never had this problem this time of year, and I love it.
And going into potentially the first snow and the parade where we anticipate
Yep.
kind of being able to receive 50, 80, maybe even 100 Jeeps in our parking lot. We need to have maximum space available.
As a reminder, any Jeeps, so Compasses,
Any and all
Liberties,
Jeeps.
bring them all.
Yep.
And please come in off Orange Street.
Yes.
Yeah.
Well, actually, I think last year. Oh no, it was off Orange
Yep.
Street last
Because
year.
we
That's correct.
faced everybody towards the track.
Correct.
So everybody lines up north facing,
Yep.
and
Yep.
then
Yep. Yep.
Because the Googles is still wrong.
Yes.
Yeah.
So, so so with all of that going on, we're very busy, and then of course, we are at the point where our kids are, involved in a lot of stuff.
Yep.
And
It takes
It's just
longer
life.
to recover with things. We
And just-
need downtime.
right.
we-
Life.
yeah.
And with that said, we had an opportunity to work hand in hand with the team at Mickey Thompson, and a big shout out to them for their continued learning opportunities. And had Greg and I went down on Friday and had a spectacular experience there. What happened on the way home was less than desirable in the sense that my keys became unclipped from my belt while strapping Jeeps to the trailer.
Darn carabiner.
Darn carabiner.
You need one of the climbing ones with a twist lock.
And
on
I
it.
have those, and we don't typically have this issue.
Well, I know.
And of course, Greg saw the keys
In true Greg fashion.
in true Greg fashion. But of course, assuming that I also knew that the keys were there,
Yes.
he just kind of let it go.
Because you're Neil, and you've often absolutely put your keys on the
100%.
trailer while you're strapping stuff
But
down.
I've learned
100%.
at this point, you see something, say something, even though it's repeated.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. So a portion of my weekend was consumed with trying to find said keys somewhere between here and Cleveland, Ohio.
Did you find some keys?
No, never found the keys.
If you do find some keys,
If you find some keys between just south of
Akron
Cleveland,
and here,
yeah,
there may be some free merch for you. That
right, send those along. So that just kind of added to the excitement. Like I said, had a fantastic day.
which is also why I sent Neil messages like, "Hey, you just take some PR time this weekend. Don't even think about coming over to the building. We'll be fine." And it's, in my mind, I knew we were not fine. I was sandbagging it.
It was like one of those things.
Multiple
And
times.
in
I'm like,
reality, we were not okay.
when Greg decided he was on the pull on that strap all by himself, I was like, "Wait, if we had Neil on that strap right now, it'd be up there.
It'd be up there. It'd be done.
I just want to point out, if we would have brought Neil, none of us would have been functioning today. So the
That's
fact
true.
that
we would have hammered down, buddy. That we would have been.
we
Building
left,
had been
we left
done.
somebody out of it to be rested for today because we needed somebody to be able to physically move stuff today.
right.
Yeah.
That's what we were doing.
Uh-huh.
So that was a portion of it. Otherwise, it was exactly that. It was dedicated to some family time, some activities, as far as kind of trying to still recuperate from the 2-week haul back and forth across the country for SEMA, and kind of get all of our ducks in a row personally and professionally. So did manage to get out to the property this weekend and just kind of sort out some things there. But I, like you, am also trying to be like, okay, well, if this is it, we might get a reprieve in December, but I mean, how much are we actually going to get of clear, dry days?
Yep. We were really spoiled for a long time where it was like after Christmas before we got the good first snow.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, because there's definitely times when we were kids that we went trick-or-treating in the snow.
Absolutely.
Right?
Oh, as kids, it's a whole different winter than what we experience.
It's a very different, and you kind of don't know what to expect because, like, literally last year we had that snowmageddon on Thanksgiving.
My shovels are on my porch.
6 years ago, it was on Christmas, so you never know when.
Well, and then it actually had a dry spell for 2 weeks or so in between. Once we actually cleared it all out, it dried up pretty decent. But it's the holiday season, so you can't like really get too much done because you're
Going
getting
too many different directions.
You're going too many different directions, and we've got a lot of Jeeps to try and turn out for people.
Yep.
So, for the most part, mine was pretty chill, other than some of these peculiarities. And as I continued to try and address the fact that I'm still got 1,000 messages to get back to people, there are still people who are messaging me, and I'm like, oh, wait, did I respond to that person or not?
Yeah.
And so. But bear with me, folks. If you have been one of those people who's been wronged by Neil, I will get back to you.
We're trying real hard over here.
Yes, but there's a lot of attention going a lot of different ways from me specifically at this exact moment. So, but otherwise, looking forward to the Christmas parade on Friday. and a lot of time with friends and family this coming weekend. Jeffrey, anything else?
Well, that's it.
Well, we will be back next Monday, and we'll do this again, folks. Until then, have a blessed and thankful holiday. Jeep on.
Jeep on.
Jeep on.